A few hours ago, President Joe Biden acknowledged a number that many of us could not fathom a year ago. More than 500,000 people in this country have died from the coronavirus. It's a number so large and indecipherable that it resists context. It is quite simply too much. You can't give comparisons. You can try to, but it's too much for us to understand collectively. And it is too much to bear for those millions and millions who have lost one person they loved and cherished. The president and the first lady, along with Vice President Kamala Harris and the second gentleman, commemorated the loss of life with a ceremony tonight outside the White House. 500 candles representing 1,000 lives each lined the stairs and balcony of the White House. Across town, the bells of the National Cathedral tonight went for 50 minutes straight, ringing 500 times to commemorate those we've lost. We'll be living with the aftermath of this for a very, very long time. As shocking and horrible as it is to think about what it means to lose 500,000 people. There's also this truth here in this dark pandemic winter, that this is the very first time in the course of this pandemic, in the last year, that it seems possible that we actually are turning a corner. But the worst might be behind us, and things may not get worse before they actually get better and keep getting better. To help get a better sense of where we are now, I think I'm joined by Dr. Saira Madad, an epidemiologist, Senior Director of System-Wide Special Pathogens for New York City's public health system, who has been dealing with this on a day-to-day basis for an entire year. First, Doctor, let's just talk about the commemoration today. I've been working on a piece of writing about this, about how we think about this loss. And it is notable to me how little collective public mourning there has been, partly because we're in the midst of it. How important do you think it is, this sort of memorialization?
Absolutely important. It's important to understand the number of lives that we've lost, the number of people that have been affected by this pandemic. I mean, if you're just looking at today's milestone, that's the population of Atlanta. I mean, that's a significant number. And as President Joe Biden mentioned, in order for us to move forward, we need to heal and we need to make sure that we humanize these numbers. That's so important. And for me and my colleagues and so many healthcare workers that have been battling this pandemic, either from a public health or healthcare delivery standpoint, we face so many different challenges and plowing through the carnage that we've seen for the past, year. It's just unfathomable. But we are meeting this milestone with hope, seeing the declines that we're seeing in cases, hospitalization, and that trend certainly is very, very promising.
So I did a monologue last week where I sort of made the case for optimism, right? Like, here's all the data you could accrue to make the case for optimism. We don't know the future. There's best case and worst case scenarios. You responded with kind of I agree with this. A bunch of other epidemiologists did as well. There are other people who think it's too rosy. Where are you right now as someone, again, who's there from the first day in the New York City public health system, dealing with the worst outbreak in the world at the time, a year ago in this city? Where are you at in terms of whether you think there is light just ahead?
There's absolutely light at the end of the tunnel, and I certainly am cautiously optimistic. I'm very hopeful looking at the trends. This is not an artificiality in terms of the number of cases and hospitalizations and deaths that are on the decline. You're seeing a significant and steady decline. And what you're also seeing is, in this current, period that we're in this pandemic, we have a huge weapon, which are vaccines, very, very effective and safe vaccines that certainly can turn the corner, that can really end the pandemic as we know it. And it's just making sure that we, as you're hearing, this race against the variants, the cases, and increasing vaccination. So that's very, very important.
I want to ask you about messaging, because, in public health, messaging is policy. And I understand there's a kind of prudential caution. Dr. Fauci talking about the possibility we'll still be wearing masks in 2022, and a real hesitancy to tell people, look, if you've got grandparents who are vaccinated and it's been a few weeks, like, bring them into the house, they can hug the kids. I get that. But it also seems to me that, like, sending the message that there is something different and better on the other side of the vaccine seems pretty crucial in the messaging here. And the message that, like, well, nothing's really going to change after you get the vaccine seems a little self-defeating.
I agree. We absolutely need more COVID optimism, especially because of the vaccines. And we need to make sure we're painting a picture to the American public to know that we have better days ahead with vaccinations. If 2 individuals are vaccinated, they can certainly resume the pre-COVID life that we've had in terms of meeting indoors without a mask, things like that. And I certainly do hope that we have more public guidance that comes out very, very soon that can talk about the policy change and what people can do once they're vaccinated, because that is what's lacking. And that's what people are asking. I get messages from family, friends, and community members all the time. I'm vaccinated. I have another friend that's vaccinated. Can we meet each other? Can we do things indoors? And, we want to see this from a public health standpoint and have that guidance come out. So it's just really playing that catch up right now.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.